This isn't live.
No,
Okay,
but we
fine.
might do that one day. But this is just recording for the time being. Okay,
fine,
great.
Fine.
So,
Yes.
welcome to Nora Chassler, great author, Valley Press author, and she's here in the Valley Press office with me, Jamie McGarry. And I'm going to ask her the 10 questions which were popularised by James Lipton on Inside the Actors Studio. So hopefully it will have some interesting answers. And then afterwards, Nora will be reading a little bit from her new book, which is called Madame Bildungsroman's Optimistic Worldview. And I've only had good feedback about the title so far, I should say. A lot of people stop and go, what a great title.
That's great.
And then Nora's also written, if you hold up the books, Nora, just for the good people at home. That one's back right, that was the wrong way around. Nora's also written Grandmother Divided by Monkey equals Outer Space. Never one for a short title, but they're and she's also written Miss Thing, which we don't have here, but which is by a different publisher, also great. But you can look that one up if you like. But start with those two, I'd say. Great. So, right. So the first question is, what is your favourite word?
We talked about this a second ago. I don't really have a favourite word. I think actually if you were a writer with a favourite word that might be problematic because you might use it too much, but I think today cantankerous, because there were some old men in the hotel I'm staying in and they were all well ironed and they were being cantankerous about sort of wee things that didn't really matter.
Yeah. When she says wee things, she means small things, I should say. But there's a translation for those those English viewers.
Sorry, because I'm sort of half New York Jew and half Scot.
Yes, yeah, but I mean, sometimes the other kind of wee things are worth being cantankerous about.
Actually, that could have been related because there was some stuff about like there wasn't one of those things in the shower, you know, that so you don't slip and fall.
It was like a shower mat.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So they were cantankerous. That is a good word, isn't it?
They were getting a bit sort of cantankerous. One of them was just having tonic. I overheard. I was spying on them. Just having
tonic. Yeah.
Yes.
No lime and no nothing.
Yes.
Just tonic.
They were considering moving hotels.
Oh right. Oh dear. Okay. So the next question is, what is your least favourite word?
I don't like the word assuage very much. Because someone I know, there's a writer who I felt overused it and it got on my nerves. What other words don't I like? I'm not crazy about fandabby-dozy.
No, I hear that very often, do you? I feel like it's okay to be. That's like not liking like a rare type of snake or something. It's alright, because you're probably not going to come across that too often.
My daughter hates the word topping, which always struck me as like, why? It's sort of innocuous, but she loathes it.
That's interesting. I think that's why they. I think that's why they asked this question, because a lot of people have an interesting.
Right.
And also some people really do dislike words.
I think mostly. I mean, as long as they're not used in a cliche way, then they're fine. You can, if they're used properly.
Yeah, you found this a lot easier than the other question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, negatives are always easier.
Okay, so the next question is, let me read the whole question for your answer.
Okay.
What turns you on, what turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
I think it's weird to say injustice turns you on, but kind of a feeling like a moral imperative to make a point is what kind of gets the
it's like motivational, isn't it?
Yes.
Hearing about and I do understand that actually. Yeah, that's one of the few things that sort of makes me angry, is like real injustice,
and
where it's obviously
spurs you to action, even as a child. You know, that sort of sense of, you know, no, that's not what happened, and I'm gonna tell it like it is.
I say it's just not fair. Isn't it?
Yes,
people,
exactly.
And people really get worked about fairness, and they should, because things should be fair.
I think things should be fair. I think things could be a heck of a lot fairer.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously I'm not supposed to be talking so much in an interview, but
it's good.
I often end up talking. I was thinking that, first of all, I think that's so unfair, and I think, what can I do? I can't do anything, because it's happening. It's like the government, and it's miles and miles away, and I'm powerless. But then I think, the best thing to do is just to keep doing just go and do my best or do your best.
I think so, and also I actually think there's a spectrum. So even though you might not be, you know, I don't want to say evil like Theresa May, but you know, you might not be kind of evil like Theresa May. Like if you do something, you know, rotten, it is on that spectrum. So you have to kind of watch yourself. It can get a little bit Calvinist, but I actually
start at home.
I believe that. Yeah.
Sorry for any Tories watching.
Yeah, well,
you might want to change channel.
You're delusional and you need help.
Yeah, other political parties are also available. So, I mean, the next question is, what turns you off?
Well, creatively, ironically, and people might not think this because some of my prose, I think, can seem a little navel-gazy. But actually kind of navel gazing turns me off because I can smell instantly that they're just doing it for the sake of their own navel. I think there's different when you kind of, say someone like Kafka, who is actually looking at himself, but he's using himself to look at the world. He's using himself as a kind of moral mirror. Whereas if you're just using yourself to look at yourself out of your ego, then that's really boring.
Yes, he's using himself as a lens
yes,
to look at the world through.
Because he already has the kind of, because I think probably injustice or something akin was important to him as well. So, that turns me off. And also kind of, I have a joke about sort of making words dance on the page, which I just find really irritating. I just don't make them dance on the page for no reason or fly off the page or, you know, have a reason for why you're doing it. You know?
Yeah, if it was fly off the page. Which
isn't to say it's not good to do right for the sheer fun of it.
Sounds like dyslexia. So, there's a point that I was going to follow up, but I forgot what it was now. There was
I don't want to sound too negative, though, because I think people should have fun, you know, with words and with writing and aesthetically. I don't want, especially kids. You know, I don't want to say, don't do that because you're just messing around and navel gazing.
I remember what I was going to say. I think sometimes it's only after you know yourself can you start to know the rest of the world. That's probably been said by some philosopher.
Yeah. To thine own self be true.
Yeah, or being able to look at yourself from the outside is a really that's a really powerful skill, and that can get you a long way, I think. Yes,
although you can sometimes know yourself and decide, oh well, I'm a rotten creep, so be it. That wouldn't be so good.
That would not be so good. No, that's the hopefully. Yeah, so you do need a good moral standing as well as know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so what sound or noise do you love?
Love?
Love. Do you love what sound or noise do you love?
Wow. Well, this is gonna sound really cliche. I really like. No, I can't say it. It's so. No, I'll just say it. I like the sound of rain. Actually, I really like the sound of the rain on the windows, and I recently moved to a kind of top flat, and and it has skylight, so you can hear it above.
That's good, yeah.
And I like the sound of birds. I like the sound of things outside the windows of the house. Well, I mean, obviously not the bus,
or workmen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Workmen.
Yeah, there's a good bit in Madam B where you talk about pigeons.
Yeah.
So I think there's more than one bit actually. We talk about looking at pigeons out the window. A lot of things come and go out the window, don't they?
I look out the window. I'm a big window looker-outer.
Yeah. Well, this is a great room for
This
that.
Is great. Yeah, it's really beautiful. Do you have binoculars in here?
No. I mean, I'll get some. Yeah, I can look at all the people. So, what sound or noise do you hate?
I hate the sound. When you showed me the questions, that was actually the one that I could answer right away. I hate the sound of, like a nylon raincoat when you're walking with someone and or even yourself and you're wearing it and it's rubbing against itself. It drives me insane.
I can do it with this. Is it?
No, really. Like nylon. Like, like a raincoat.
Yeah.
It just.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
But many people wear them all the time.
Yeah, they do. They obviously don't mind it. Maybe you're blind to the sound of your own raincoat. That's a new way.
No, because actually I tried that because I was like, these are practical. I live in the UK now. I should have one of these. And no, I hate it.
Fair enough. Okay, so what profession, other than your own, would you like to attempt? And you had a few jobs, haven't you, over the years? I mean, obviously.
I have none of the jobs that I've had.
Yeah, because you started out as a, for those who don't know, you did some modelling once
Yeah,
once upon a time.
I did.
And you've also worked, not as a social worker, but within that world.
Yeah, I used to say at the time I was the red tape.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because it was like, do I need to be here? I would sort of go between two social workers, or between a social worker and a consulate. But I mean, you needed someone to do it.
Yeah, the incarnation of red tape.
Yes. Yeah. I did my best.
And now you're mostly teaching.
I do a lot of teaching. I teach creative writing and story skills to which is something I sort of made up, to primary students. And yeah.
So, but apart from all those, if you could have.
Okay. This is gonna sound really silly, but I actually always thought I might like to be a postman, because I really like walking, and I really like being outside in all weather, and I'm nosy because I'm a writer, so it's like you get to see into people's houses.
And you get to read their postcards if you're
that would be great. I mean, what keeps me away is that the idea of sort of, because you have to do sort of stock duty or whatever, and also maybe internal politics, the stuff involving the other people and the organization, the bureaucracy.
So what you just want is to be given a load of posts at the beginning of the day, spend the day handing it out, and then never actually see any other post people or anything like that.
Yeah, not much, or maybe a little, but yeah.
Yeah, just the ones you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I used to write, if I used to send a postcard to my mum, I used to write on it, P.S. Is that nosy postman still reading all your mail? But yes. So, on the flip side, it's always the positive negative on this one. What profession would you not like to do?
Oh, there's so many. I'd hate to be a wedding planner.
Why is that?
I just kind of think what a colossal waste of money, and I'm a bit jaded about it, and I kind of think you're building I don't know, I'm quite cynical about that. I think I'd hate to be anything where you can't tell the truth, which is so many jobs that are in the public eye, sort of you can't, yeah,
because that would offend your sense of fairness, like we spoke about way back in the beginning.
Yeah, I just think that would really irritate me. I mean, I've been close to that before, where you can't. So.
Okay. And the final question: if heaven exists,
okay,
what would you like to hear God say?
God.
Yes, God personally. When you arrive at the pearly gates.
Okay. First of all, I don't think God's going to be a white guy with a beard. I think God would be some sort of miasmic, non-person. But what would I like? The pearly gates, I like the idea of that. I like pearls. Love pearls, actually. Welcome home.
Welcome home. That's nice. That's very succinct. That's a good answer. Great. So, on that note, will you read us a bit from one of the books?
Okay.
It doesn't have to be in order. You can just sort of
I'll just try
choose a few random ones.
Choose a few random ones.
This is Madame Bildungsroben's optimistic worldview. I'll never get tired of saying that. And it's full of little tiny bits of writing, and they're either short stories or short thoughts, I suppose, or I've called them micro essays on some official literature. But
okay, I'm just gonna choose randomly. I don't know if these are good. This is called Top. I remember being less than 2 and laboring with a metal spinning top. You had to balance it on its point first and then pump with a stiff red handle. We were visiting someone and there was nothing else to do. At least this was clearly the appropriate and quiet choice. My brother was elsewhere and wouldn't have wanted to hang out with me. The adults only appreciated conversation and I didn't have anything to say. As I played with the toy, I thought about something someone must have told me. How the earth went around the sun, how the sun was in space, and how big space was. I imagined myself a filament packed tightly with others on the surface of the earth. We were swinging around our sun. We could see countless other suns in envelopes of galaxies that, respiring and piled on top of each other, splayed out to the sides and slowly changed places like animals in a herd. The idea of all this and of my insignificance in particular made me happier than anything ever had. My only slight regret, how human, was that I hadn't been born knowing. Okay. What was I talking about there? Here's a
George has got one of those. That's my son. George has got one of those things you push down and it spins around. I
yeah.
had to go with that the other day, and I discovered you could make it a noise. You pressed it fast, and it went.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And I felt very proud. He wasn't interested, but
Was he not? Maybe he's not quite old enough to be that interested in. I wonder why the top. I mean, who knows if that even happened? You know what? Memory is so strange. Who knows? All right. Novel Descending a Staircase. This is a slightly bitter one. In its prime, in its usefulness, the novel was the individual versus society, by which we meant read how the mechanism of his culture destroys this fine man's soul. Slowly the novel has changed. Now, look into his nasty interior. How much like yours it is. Poor Tess.
yeah.
Sometimes it's good to remind yourself that Fallen Woman is an official Library of Congress film genre. And I learned that because I was inputting something in a database at a library, and it is. It's a genre.
Yeah. What films are in the genre?
I can't remember anything other than Tess, but I'm sure we could think of something. I mean, it does come up as a trope. In fact, I just read something. Can't remember. Anyway.
Mole Flanders, some sort of
Yeah, no, but
adaptation
it wasn't
of that.
Mole Flanders. It was something more contemporary, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, should I read more?
Yeah, do a couple more, then
A
we'll
couple more. Okay.
we'll call it a good video then.
Okay. I'll read one about Madame B. Madame B. Omniscience. Madame B and I fell out. She said, "Can't I at least read a Terry Pratchett?" I accused her of all sorts of shirking. She shredded. She's in pieces and insists on nothing now. She can read serious literature or nothing at all, and yes, that would be abusive and controlling if she wasn't a figment of my imagination. I'm returning to my novel, the one written by a rock that developed a face by forming itself over millions of years around fossils that look like eyes, a nose, and a mouth. I don't need her scrappy ass.
And that's true, isn't it, about the novel? That novel is in the pipeline.
Yes, there's a novel called The Geographic. Now it's called The Geographic. I don't know. Yes, well, I've written quite a lot of it, but it was so long ago, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to go back to it. So maybe it'll.
Well, maybe that's part of it. Maybe that fits in though. It's going to take you years and years and years to write it.
Or maybe it'll just be the beginning of The Geographic. I don't know. Okay, one more. Choose one more. Should I read a funny one?
Yeah, give us a laugh. Always leave them laughing.
Leave them laughing. So I could read the one about revenge, or I could read the one about why I don't daydream. I don't know.
Quite like the one about Costa. We
Oh yeah,
we're
that
thinking
one's
about
funny.
Costa today.
That's a bit kind of. Do you have any idea where it is? Costa.
It's about halfway through.
What's the page?
It's a big one. It's on
It is
the
big.
it's on the Verso on the left.
Verso.
That's the official. Yeah, that's the official publishing term for a left-hand
I
page.
didn't know that. Okay. That's Costa, Starbucks, Nero, Eternity. Suddenly I understand why I avoid them. It's not a snob thing, as you insist. This is the fiction version of the real living room of most people's childhoods. Men sitting alone, soothed, aroused, and angry to varying degrees, among groups of women gossiping with babies, chatting, ordering cakes and bathtubs of hot milk. The women's chatter is so unimportant, in such clean and certain tones, it's somehow immoral. And everyone, except that very skinny Chinese guy who ordered a double espresso to go, put 3 straws of sugar in it, and ran away, seems very comfortable. Too comfortable. Okay, maybe it is a snob thing. Or worse, misanthropy. Just tell me one thing. Why does it take so fucking long and cost so fucking much? And while I'm here waiting, the exponential rise in prescriptions of anti-anxiety SSRIs coincides nicely with these sinkfuls of coffee they sneak in with your milk. Happy coincidence? I doubt it. Okay, I have my giant cappuccino now, and I'll be on my merry way.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nora Chassler.
Thank you.